about you, but I'm feeling 22. Hey everyone, it's Olivia and welcome back to my channel. So last week it was my birthday. I turned 22 and having a quarantine birthday was one of the most unexciting things. But to be honest, my birthday isn't really something that I celebrate in any kind of big way every year, so it's not that bad. So today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I know that it's closer to the end of July, which doesn't really make it mid-year, but I like to think of the months June and July as mid-year, so I'd say that it counts. And I mean, I may be late to the party, but I'm fashionably late. This is also a tag that I haven't done before, so I'm really excited to be answering all of the questions. So let's just dive right in. The first question is, how many books have you read so far in 2020? So far I have read 19 books, but I'm adding 7 to that number because I had an internship with a literary agency and I was reading full manuscripts. So I read 7 full manuscripts, which I count as part of my reading goal because they're full-length novels that just aren't published yet, but I did read them from the beginning to the end, so I'd say that counts. So 19 plus 7 is 26, which is really close to my Goodreads goal, which is 30. I know it's not a lot, but 26 out of 30 books thus far. I'm definitely going to meet my goal and definitely exceed my goal at the rate of which I'm reading, which means that I'm probably going to bump up my goal to 50, which is insane to me because if you know me, I don't really read that much. I think that's going to go down in the history books as the most books I've ever read in a year before. So the next question is, what have you been reading? So my friend Mary and I decided to buddy read the Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare because neither of us have read any of her books and we really wanted to dive into this world together. It's a hugely popular series and Cassandra Clare is like a huge favorite here on BookTube, so I definitely felt like I missed out on reading The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices and Dark Artifices. Chain of Gold just came out, so I've seen a lot of people talking about it and I wanted to hop onto that train, and my friend Mary came along with me. So we have been buddy reading. We read The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices. We read The Bane Chronicles and Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and right now we have just started the Dark Artifices series. So right now we're reading Lady Midnight, which is the first book in the trilogy, and we've actually split it up into 4 parts. And so as you can see from all my little tabs, we've read about 3/4 of the way in and we have a quarter left, so that is what I'm reading. I'm also reading The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I have it on my Kindle. I'm really enjoying this. I think it's a really fun summary read, and so far I'm about 10 chapters in, so I can't really give a solid opinion on this quite yet. Next question. What is the best book that you've read in 2020 so far? So most of the books that I've been reading have been part of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, which I wouldn't say any of them are my favorite books of this year. The best book that I've read so far is actually Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I absolutely love this book. I love the world. I am obsessed with the magic system in this. I find the characters really interesting and compelling, and I just really, really love this book. And I also met Tomi Adeyemi and she's so freaking awesome, so more reasons to love this book is to also love the author. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you read in 2020? And I think it's kind of obvious that the best sequel that I read was Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. I really enjoyed this book. I actually buddy read this with my friend Daniel and we had a ton of fun reading it together. I feel like this one was a really strong sequel to the first book. Definitely the character development makes a lot of sense in this book, even though it was really frustrating because I don't like any of the characters, and there are 3 main characters and it's written from their perspectives, and I was just like, I don't like any of them. I find them really annoying, but like the development, the plot, the world just is so interesting, and I think that it's a really great sequel. A new release that you haven't read yet but you want to. I really want to read A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. I have been hearing so many good things about this book. The cover looks so compelling. I really want to get my hands on this book. I have it on hold with the library and I think it said like 10 weeks before I can get my hands on it, but when those 10 weeks are over, I'm just gonna dive straight in, read this book. I'm really excited to read that. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I am super excited for A Sky Sky Beyond the Storm by Saba Tahir, which is the last book in the Ember and the Ashes quartet. I love Ember and the Ashes. I'm so excited to read the ending. I actually attended her virtual event where she read part of the book, and I was just sitting there just overwhelmed with all my feelings because, oh, I'm so hyped for this book. I can't wait. I'm actually planning to probably reread the first 3 books because I don't really remember what happened and I need to remember before I read the ending. I'm also really excited for Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas because I pre-ordered this book just because the synopsis was super interesting and compelling, and we got some POC characters up in here, and I'm just really excited to read that because it just seems so interesting, and the cover is just wonderful. What was my biggest disappointment? So I kind of have 2 books for this one. The first one that I want to talk about is Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. I believe I talked about this in one of my wrap-up videos after I read it. I was very disappointed with this book because I was expecting more from it. It sounded really interesting. I really like Adam Silvera. I know that this is his first fantasy novel, but I was so disappointed because the characters fell really flat to me. I felt like the development was non-existent for them. The plot was kind of a mess. Actually, no, it was a mess, and the ending was just anticlimactic, and I was just really disappointed with this book. The second biggest disappointment was Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time because it's been out for like over a year now, and I know people have been talking about it, but somehow I have avoided spoilers, so I really wanted to just dive in and read this book and like create my own opinions on it. I really wanted to like this book, and I didn't. I just felt really disappointed with the plot, with the characters, with kind of everything about this book, which makes me really sad because I really wanted to like it because the main character felt like somebody who was going to be so relatable to me, somebody who is a college student who's kind of doing college wrong and wants to start over and studies abroad, this 20-year-old girl who's never had a real relationship before and just kind of has a hard time making friends, and that's like the literal definition of me. The main character Shane just wasn't somebody that I could connect to. I couldn't really root for her either, so that made me really sad, and I'm planning to actually do a review to talk about all my feelings because I have so many feelings about this book, and yeah, it was just really disappointing. What was my biggest surprise of this year? My biggest surprise was All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I actually attended her book launch event in San Diego, and I really was only there to meet Tomi Adeyemi because they're friends, and she was speaking alongside Adeline Grace to support her in her book launch. They're so cute. They're like the bestest of friends. I'm like, author friends goals. This was my biggest surprise because it was a book that I wasn't expecting to pick up, and then I bought it, obviously, and I got it signed, and I met her, and she's really cool, and I buddy read this with my friend, as you can tell by the tabs, and I had a lot of fun reading this. I'm excited to read the sequel. Who is your favorite new author, debut, or new to you? So for this one, I'm gonna have to say Adeline Grace because I really enjoyed her book, and this is her debut novel, and I really liked it, and I'm really excited to read everything else she has to write. So yeah. Who is your newest favorite character? I'm totally cheating on this question because none of the books I've read so far I've had sort of a new favorite character. I don't think anybody's really resonated with me. I'm not like super in love with anybody that I've read about, but a character that I have fallen so deeply in love with is one of my own characters. I'm such a cheater. I've been working on this novel for a long time. I've been fleshing out my characters, and lately I've been really inspired. And I just dove into writing this one particular character who is just my precious baby and has such a tortured soul, and he's just awesome, and I love him to pieces. And I don't want to say too much about him because spoilers, duh, but he's just really awesome, and I love him. I love him so much. He's my new favorite character. A book that made you cry. Okay, so I was literally just talking to Mary about this because when we were reading Infernal Devices, she cried at the end, and she said that she had never cried while reading a book before until she read Clockwork Princess. And I was talking to her and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I literally never cry when I'm reading, which is the strangest thing because I cry over literally everything else. I could be looking at a picture and cry. I could be watching a short video on YouTube and cry. I could be watching a TV show and cry. I could be watching a movie and cry. I can cry during a scene in a movie or a TV show that you're not supposed to cry. I cry a lot, and it's really shocking to me that I don't cry when I read books because I get so invested in these books and these characters that the tears just don't come. They just don't come. Like, I feel it here in my heart. Like, I feel physical pain, but I just don't cry. I don't know what it is. My theory is that my subconscious knows that when I start crying, my vision gets all blurry and then I can't read anymore because I can't see the words. And also my subconscious is like, we don't want to get these books wet, okay? So you ain't gonna cry. And I swear that's literally the reason why I don't cry when I read books. So I'm just kind of waiting for that book that makes me cry. A book that says to my subconscious, fuck it, who cares if you can't read this, if you get these books wet, you're gonna cry. I feel like it has to be one of my favorites, right? If it can move me so emotionally and so deeply to make me cry, yeah, I just haven't had that experience yet, and I really, really want to. On the opposite end of things, well, you can still have tears of happiness, I suppose, but I don't think I've ever been moved to cry because of how happy I am in life, which kind of sounds sad, maybe. So a book that I read this year that made me happy was Frankly in Love by David Yoon. I just love this book because it has all of my favorite things. First of all, Asian American representation because we are here for it, but also it was such a cheesy trope of fake dating, and I love that. I just thought it was so fun to read this and have sort of that Korean American experience layered on top of all of this. I just really loved it. I enjoyed reading it. I thought it was super fun, super cute, and I mean the cover is just so pretty, and I wish I owned this book because I just checked it out from the library, but I want to get my hands on Frankly in Love, like seriously. What is the most beautiful book that you have bought or received this year? So I haven't really bought too many books this year because I ain't got no money, but the ones that I did order a long time ago is the UK editions of Nevernight and God's Grave by J. Kristoff. So I read Nevernight and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and so I really wanted to just get these covers because like they're so pretty. And this one is the Illumicrate edition, which has the sprayed edges, and the same goes for God's Grave, which is really awesome. And I actually have the UK version of Dark Dawn as well, but they don't have sprayed pages, so they don't match 100%. These are the most beautiful books that I have bought this year. They're so pretty. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Whew, okay, so many. So I'm gonna finish up Dark Artifices, and then we're also gonna read Red Skulls of Magic, Ghosts of the Shadow Market, and Lost Book of the White that's supposed to come out later this year, and any other books in the Shadowhunter Chronicles that are out except for Chain of Gold because we're waiting for all of the books to be out because I swear I will not be able to handle it by just reading that and then having to wait. I don't think I could handle that at all. I am planning to finally finish off all those series that I haven't finished off for various reasons. The Grisha trilogy because I didn't finish Ruin and Rising, the Lunar Chronicles because I never finished Winter, and then I want to read Always and Forever by Lara Jean just because I never finished that either. And I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a movie too, even though I did not enjoy P.S. I Still Love You. Oh, that movie was so bad. Anyway, so I want to finish those, and then Mary and I are planning to read a bunch of other books together, including books by V.E. Schwab and Laini Taylor, and just a bunch of other things that we'll be reading together, while I'm also going to be reading a bunch of stuff that I randomly check out from the library, of course. So that was just the book tag. I have actually been reading so much more this year than I've ever read before. I think it's just because of being stuck in my house and my friend also being stuck in her house and the two of us just deciding to read together. It's great. If she wasn't holding me accountable to be reading all the time, then I probably wouldn't because I'm terrible. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, then go ahead and give it a like down below. And if you want to see more of my stuff, then make sure you hit subscribe and then hit the bell icon to make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. And speaking of uploading new videos, I am actually planning to upload twice a week. Oh my god, it's crazy. crazy. You go from not uploading anything at all to uploading twice a week. It's insane, and I might regret this later. But yeah, so I'm gonna be uploading every Monday and every Friday just to tail end your weekdays. Start your week with me and end it with me because we are having a party up in here. Make sure you check out all of my other social links. I am on Instagram and Twitter, and I have a blog that you can check out. I have some of my writing on there as well as some life updates. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!